Well, as Stuart says, constitutionally it's far from clear where we go from here. We're going to hear from Carlos Puigdemont in about an hour's time. We're also expecting a further response from the Spanish government today. Last night in the early hours they did concede it was a very bad result for them. But also do spare a thought for those who voted against independence yesterday. They actually accounted for around 52% of the popular vote. But once again, it doesn't look like they are going to have control of the Catalan Parliament. Back to you, Adam.
Much indeed, Jane. Well, we're joined now by Joseph Calderon, a journalist who is based in Barcelona. Mr. Calderon, thank you very much indeed for being with us. What's going to happen now? Because it would appear to be a stalemate. The Spanish government called this regional election in the hope that it would clear things up, and the separatists have a majority.
That's correct. I think what the election results show last night is that the independence movement has a much stronger resolve than Madrid had anticipated. They're now going to have to negotiate with the leaders of both the parties that have gained the absolute majority in parliament, both of leaders of which are not physically in Catalonia. You have the ex-president Carles Puigdemont, who's head of one party, who's in self-imposed exile, and the other leader who's behind bars in jail. The man behind bars is actually going to have to go through some sort of plea bargain, we imagine, which would bring him closer to how Madrid would like Catalonia to go forward, which will still be a very independence-minded movement, but more on the terms of what Madrid has in mind.
Do you think we are any closer to there being an official and possibly binding referendum on Catalan independence?
I think Madrid was very straightforward when it put police on the street here during the last referendum. They do not want this happening. This is not something that they have any idea there's no way that this is going to happen right now in Spain under the current ruling party. The PP party, which heads Madrid, would have to be changed. You'd have to wait for the next general election in 2020 to go through, and then Catalonia might have a chance to actually put together a referendum.
I mean, it would seem, frankly put, that in doing that, they are defying the will of the people. I mean, it's not necessary that this result points to a yes vote to independence, but it clearly shows that the people at least want that question put.
This is one way of seeing it, or you could see that the popular vote showed that the majority of people in Catalonia want to be part of Spain. I think it's important to realize that, yes, this can be seen as a parliamentary win for the separatists, but compared to the last election, it's only a slim majority, and it's much less seats than they had in the previous parliament.
And what about Ciudadanos, the party, the biggest party there? Are they, do you think, now in any position possibly to form some kind of minority administration?
It's a good question. We really don't know what the current government is going to look like, the next government of Catalonia. The party that got the most seats, the young Ciudadanos party, they're seen as, well, they're billed as a centrist party, but actually they're seen by most Spaniards as being a bit more right-wing, a bit closer to the ideologies of Madrid. This could be an indication of maybe some much more infighting down the road in Catalonia, as you have two parties trying to form a government that clearly are diametrically opposed ideologically.
So what do you think is going to happen now? Just a period of continued political turmoil in Catalonia?
Well, first it's Christmas, then New Year's, and then back to what has always been part of this region, is a divisive subject over whether it should be independent or not. It's just nothing's going to really change now. You can expect continued infighting in the parliament in Catalonia, and some sort of push for another referendum further down the road. I'd like to see whether or not they are able to pardon the former vice president of Catalonia who's in jail. Are they going to have a plea bargain with Puigdemont, the ex-president, for him to come back to Catalonia? How this pans out will really test Spain's government and Spain's identity within Europe and the world.
Just to be clear, Puigdemont is in Brussels. He hasn't been re-elected, has he?
He has not, but his party won the second amount of votes in the election last night. And he is technically, I think, leader of this party, so he could be one of the people who are forming this majority of independents candidates in the parliament. He still has quite a big say and quite a big influence, and I think that his party did much better than expected last night, shows that his supporters are more emboldened than before to come out and continue showing support for the independence movement. It is not going away.
Mr. Calderon, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me.